guys, I am cmasupra and welcome to another Company of Heroes video. So this is the third game of a series of 3 games that I played with this guy, which is why you're not going to see me say good luck, have fun at the beginning of this, because he obviously knows that I said the previous 2 games. I really don't need to say it the third. I can spend my time thinking about how I'm going to beat him instead. So this video is going to be about the Semois Pin, not Semois Pin, even though I usually call it Semois. Although I think I've actually fixed that because of all these videos. I now call it Semois, as it's supposed to be called. So, yeah, in case you don't know, the Semois Pin is basically... Well, I guess I should explain the map a little bit to help you understand this. So each base has 2 cutoff points. One is the strategic point in front of the base, and one is the fuel point to the right of each base if you face from the HQ, but next to each base, basically. Basically. There we go. Confusing words together. So it has 2 cutoff points per base, so if you can trap your opponent using those 2 cutoff points, you will pretty much win this match in the game. Because if you can cut them off from there, they have no access to resources whatsoever, except for the munitions point that's next to their base. But even then, if you are on the right side of the map, if you have that base, which I currently have, your opponent can actually take that munitions point without dealing with your base MGs. If you have the left side of the map, your opponent cannot take that munitions point. And I'm not sure if the map designers intentionally made it that way, or if that was a mistake on their part, but it kind of sucks when you're the player on the right, and your opponent can take your munitions point. I mean, granted, if he can take it, he's probably winning a lot to begin with, so he's going to win no matter what, but it does still put you behind a little bit. So, I guess we can go ahead and start talking about this particular game, and explain what I'm doing. So, first off, I built the Wehrmacht quarters, then I built the Volk squad you see at the very top of your screen, and then I built this MG, which I currently have selected. So I'm doing a standard build, 2 Pioneers, Wehrmacht quarters, Volks, MG, and I'm thinking, do I want to do the really standard build, considering I've played this guy 2 times previously, just right now? I don't think I do, so I'm going to do Volks, MG, MG, rather than Volks, MG, Volks, MG, Volks. I'm going to do Volks, MG, MG, and then I'm going to base whatever the situation is, or I'm going to, how do I explain it? The unit I get after the second MG will be decided based on the situation currently in the match. So if I need an MG, I'll buy an MG. If I need a bike, I'll buy a bike. If I need a Volk squad, I'll buy a Volk squad. I'll buy whatever I need. So over here, I guess this is really sneaky of me. My opponent did the same thing last game. He went into that house and stopped me from capturing that fuel point because our Pioneers and Engineers met together. So I tell my Pioneers to go south, down that bridge with green cover, and plant a mine there. So if he decides to chase my Pioneer squad, because I am sending my Pioneer squad to the munitions point at the very bottom of the map. So if he decides to chase me to stop me from capturing that, he will run into a mine on the way, so he won't be able to stop me. So it works out perfectly. I get munitions even though I spent munitions to get those munitions. Very confusing, but I hope that made sense. In the middle, we have an attempted flank by my opponent, but a really bad attempt at it. He did a better attempt earlier in this match. You might have seen him come around the right side of the church to flank my MG, which he knew was there somehow. Or maybe he wasn't trying to flank it, he was just coming around the church for the heck of it. I don't know, but he had a better flank there, but then he all of a sudden ran in front of my MG, so my MG suppressed him. Now this is a really good job by my opponent. I'm kind of worried right here. He is coming to kill my MG, so I have my 2-man Volk squad, which is not going to hold off a 4-man rifle squad. But then I remember, oh, I have an MG in this house. I am so set, and I have these Volks Grenadiers coming over here. Yeah, his rifle squad's screwed. I am not supposed to be worried when I have that much protection on my MG. So it was a nice attempt at a flank. Sadly for him, it failed. And then here come some flamer engineers, and I'm like, oh gosh, again? Okay, let's stop this flank. My Volks are not going to stop you, so I guess I should retreat them without taking unnecessary losses. MG in the house, shoot at those not pioneers, engineers. They did just that, suppress them. I managed to move my other MG out of the way before it took too much damage from those engineers. And in the meantime, my pioneers on the right side have been capturing his, well, his munitions point at the very bottom and his fuel point right next to that, which they're currently capturing. So that's a really big deal because Americans need fuel. Wehrmacht doesn't need it as much, but Americans can't do anything without fuel. So the fact that I'm capturing his fuel point is helping me a lot. So I have him pinned, sort of kinda, as you can see in the map. I have taken his fuel point, so he's not getting any resources from the right side of the map, and I have not taken his strategic point. I have not taken his strategic point yet. I'm going to try to here pretty soon. I'm slowly moving up because I don't want to be flanked. But despite the fact that I've not taken his strategic point, he is not getting much from the left side of the map because he only has a munitions point connected to his base. The rest of the points he has are not connected to his base, so it works out well for me. I have essentially pinned him without actually pinning him, so he can easily come back from this. As you can see, he is capturing his fuel point back. He has captured the strategic point that is the cutoff point for the top munitions point, the top high munitions point, the one next to the victory point on the left side of the map, that one. He's taken the strategic point back, that cuts that one off, so he is getting resources from the left side of the map up there, which kind of sucks for me, but I did pin him, so while I was getting lots of resources, he was not, so even though my pin was only temporary, it is helping me a lot, because the more resources I have, the better off I will be. And this was just lucky. I had an MG next to that wall, as you can see. That MG happened to suppress the two squads that were chasing my MG, as this MG was running into the house that is on the screen. Not anymore, but it was. The one at the very bottom right of the screen, that house. His suppressed squads are still chasing it, and like, oh gosh, a grenade. This house should be big enough? Yeah, not really. I lost 2 guys in that. In case you don't know, the bigger the house, the less likely, or the less damage a grenade is likely to do. It can still kill every single member in that building, but it's highly unlikely in, say, the church in the middle of the map, because that church is huge. You might get lucky and kill 1 guy in the church, it's that big. So that's something worth knowing, if you don't already know it. Most of you probably already do, because you've been playing this game and just noticed that through your playing. So my opponent sent an offensive, but he failed it, or he failed at it, because of my MGs, and I just have MGs everywhere, and I actually considered calling this game MGs everywhere, because I use a ton of MGs, and MGs are really the heroes of this game, I must say. And MGs are also what allow me to pin him in his base later on in the game. Spoiler, as if you guys don't already expect spoilers as I'm commentating. I never hide it. Well, I actually do hide it every once in a while. If there's a really good game and it goes back and forth, I'll sometimes not tell you who wins. This one, it's obvious. I have given you so many clues, you can probably figure it out by now. Yay, Kriegsberg is finished. So I went tier 2 this game. The previous game I went tier... Well, what did I do last game? Oh, I lost an MG right there, that sucked. I was just like, oh, I thought this house was big enough. Apparently it wasn't. Or else it was big enough and I just got that unlucky grenade thing like I mentioned before. Where I got really lucky and just happened to kill all the members of my squad that were in the building. And he's trying to take my fuel now. And I will get back to explaining what I did in the previous game if I can remember what I did. Oh yeah, so I'm sending some stuff to go kill his unit that's capturing my fuel point, because I don't really need it for the strategy I'm using, but I do not want him to have it. So the game before this, I had actually, it was on the same map, Semois, and I had actually done the exact same strategy I'm doing now, but it was only a 9-minute game, so I didn't get very far in the strategy, so he really didn't even know what strategy I was going to use last game, so I'm using the same strategy 2 games in a row because he didn't know what strategy I was doing the previous game. The first game we played together was on Langres, not Langres, and in that one I did a tier 3 strategy, tier 3 in Blitz, so I had Pumas and Stormtroopers. Little did I know that Pumas actually have some trouble fighting inmates. The upgraded Pumas, that is. I mean, the non-upgraded ones, yes, I know they can't fight inmates because they don't have an anti-tank gun. They have an anti-infantry gun. They're not going to do much against an inmate. This is a nice grenade right here. Watch this. Oh, yeah. I think I actually killed a squad because of it. Yep, there went his squad. He didn't have time to react. Or else he was too busy doing something else. I don't know. But that was a nice grenade. The first game I played, I did the tier 3 Blitz strategy. I got Pumas. Hold on. Okay, as I was saying, I got Pumas, and apparently even the upgraded Pumas have some trouble against inmates. I don't know why. They used to be fine against them, but I kept losing upgraded Pumas to his inmates, even though Pumas that are upgraded in the past have always won against inmates for me, so I'm not really sure how, but he really managed to do a good job on my Pumas. And he won because of that. So he won the first game on Longray, I won the second game on Semois, and I won this game on Semois as well. And I offered at the end of this to play another game on Longray. It's like, maybe you're just better at Longray? I don't really know. But he declined it because he had other things to do. So I'll never know if he's just better at Longray or what, but this video has nothing to do about that. This is about something else. The Semois Pin, there we go. Yeah, my mind went blank a little. There. So I lost my MG, as I mentioned earlier, next to his strategic point. So I'm like, I'm having some trouble. Let's send some more MGs his way, because I need to make sure he does not overrun me. He is actually winning this battle. So I send 2 MGs, one from the bottom of the screen, and one I put in the church. Then I send some infantry squad to the fuel and strategic point spot on that little island at the bottom of the map. Not quite the bottom, above that bottom munitions point. That area. I hope you know what I'm talking about. I sent some squad there to replace the MG because I did take one of my 2 MGs from there, but I need something protecting it to make sure he doesn't take it. So I just sent some infantry squad. I don't really know what I sent. I did manage to hold off his attack with my 2 MGs, so that was really good. And any flanks he tried didn't work because of the way I had positioned my MGs, where I had them covering each other and one could face any direction really because it was in the church. He did have flamer engineers, but that was the only thing that could really damage my MGs, so lucky for me he didn't do much damage to me after I brought the MGs. I mean, unlucky for me, he did quite a bit of damage before I brought those MGs up. I mean, that's the reason I brought those MGs up, so that kind of sucked for me. And look what we have here, an M8. Just like in the first game. Just like, oh great, I have no AT and you're bringing out an M8. What am I gonna do? Panzer Shreks sound like a good idea. What else sounds like a good idea? I don't really know. Am I not making Panzer Shreks yet? I thought I made Panzer Shreks by now. I thought as soon as I saw that M8 I was making Panzer Shreks. Maybe I wasn't. Maybe I clicked on it and I didn't realize it this time. I don't know, maybe I did click on Panzer Shreks and I just didn't notice it as I'm making this commentary. Oh, this squad has a Panzer Shrek. Am I gonna give my other Grenadier squad Panzer Shreks? Maybe not. I am gonna send Volksgrenadiers though, which are actually gonna do pretty well against this M8, and I can tell you that because the M8 does not have side skirts. Never, 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 ever use an M8 without side skirts. Never, ever, ever use an M8 without side skirts. Because it has so much... Well, it's very, very weak without side skirts. I mean, it does not take much at all to take an M8 down if it does not have side skirts. I think side skirts like double its HP, so it takes twice as many Panzerfaust or twice as many Panzer Shrek hits. It only takes 1 and a little bit of damage from something to take down an M8. What am I... This is probably really confusing, you guys. It only takes 1 Panzer Shrek hit or 1 Panzerfaust hit plus a little bit of damage, whether it be from another Panzerfaust or from another Panzerschreck or from a Pak 38. I just need a second hit to kill an M8, but the first one will take it down to about a fifth of its health. So it's like 1 and then a little bit more damage, so whatever you want to use to deal that damage. I think even MGs can deal that damage. MG42? I believe it can, because I think that its bullets can penetrate the M8's armor. Even with side skirts, I should say. Side skirts only increase the health, it doesn't increase the armor. So it's just as easy to penetrate as it was before, but now it has twice as much health if you give it side skirts. Nice dodge from my grenade from my opponent. Sadly for him, though, he doesn't micro his squad very well after he gets them out of the building, so he loses a few more guys. He's down to 1 guy, and he may actually lose his squad. I don't know. Looking at the minimap, I think he managed to keep his squad. So that was kind of lucky for him. But I must say, he didn't do a good job of micromanaging his squad after he bought them out of the house. And that hurt that individual squad, and sort of kind of him as well. Now, my opponent has been actually kind of smart. He knows he can't get the middle very easily, so he's spent some of his time capturing the left side of the map. So now it's my turn to go capture it back, because I want it all. I want to pin him in his base so he can't get resources. And I've almost done that. But then, hey, he decides to show up next to my field point, so I'm like, okay, well, I have a Volk squad here. I'm going to use this Volk squad to shoot at your people who are capturing my fuel point as soon as they're done reinforcing. Because my Volk squad only had 3 people, I want all 5. I did get Vet 3 at some point. I've been totally ignoring the fact that I bought so much veterancy in this game. And the reason I bought it was just because veterancy is so good as Wehrmacht. Early on, anyway. Later on, it's the weakest veterancy in the game, literally. American, British, and Panzer Elite veterancies are all better than Wehrmacht's veterancies, at the Vet 3 level anyway. So Wehrmacht veterancy is really good mid-game, I guess you would say. And so I decided to take advantage of that. Instead of going for tanks or anything like that, I decided to go for veterancy. And that's actually perfect timing that I'm talking about this, because pretty soon in here in this game, my opponent's going to do something really smart, probably the smartest way you can counter veterancy from Wehrmacht as the Americans. Yeah, I'm going to talk more about that later once he decides to do that. He hasn't done it yet. So I did manage to capture this strategic point right here, so I have him not getting any resources from the upper part of the map. Anything that would connect to his strategic point no longer is giving him resources. So it's just like, yay, you captured the whole left side of the map, but I took your strategic point. No longer shall you get resources from it. And if you look in the mini-map, I have a blue dot. We're about to see it, I believe. Nope, we're not, actually. If I remember this correctly, I didn't even notice it. I forgot I had sent a squad there, but if you look on the mini-map, there's a blue dot at the border between his field point and my munitions point at the very bottom of the map, that point where there's even a red dot. I have a squad there, but I forgot about them, so I didn't send them to go capture the field point. And whenever I remembered them is when this battle was over. Like, my opponent would just come in waves to attack me at a strategic point. So I was busy focusing on the waves he was sending at me, but every time a wave ended, I would go look at that squad. It's just like, oh, I meant to send them to the fuel point while that battle was happening. So that kind of sucked. I did notice he was taking my munitions point down there after a little while, after the battle was over, really, because I was so focused in on the battle. Which is not what you're supposed to do. You should never be so focused in on the battle. But I have to take back my munitions point, and I tell them to go back to those bushes they were hiding in before. And this time I'm hoping I will remember to send them to the fuel point as a battle is going on in the middle near his strategic point, because that's essentially fighting on 2 fronts. I'm forcing him to fight me at the fuel point as he is fighting me in the middle, because if he wants the middle, he has to fight me there. If he wants the fuel point, he has to fight me there. So he has to either fight me at both, or just at one and possibly lose the other. Now you might notice that the unit sniped icon is in the left side of the events list. So my opponent now has a sniper, which is literally the smartest thing you can do against Wehrmacht Veteran C. Literally the smartest thing you can do. Because Veteran C does not help against snipers at all, so it's as if I have Vet 1 and you're shooting at me. And this is a weird bug. I lose control of my MG and I'm just like, great, there's 250 manpower down the drain. I'd really like to keep that MG and not buy a new one, but I guess I'm not going to get to do that. So to counter a sniper, I did buy a bike, and I'm kind of questioning its usefulness because I realize my opponent is protecting a sniper pretty well at this point, so I'm probably not going to be able to really use this bike without losing it, so I should be cautious with it. Hopefully it'll make my opponent more cautious with the sniper, where if he sees the bike he'll think, oh gosh, I gotta make sure that bike does not kill my sniper, so he'll put more energy into making his sniper survive, or he will stop sniping as much. Either way, it's good for me because if he puts energy into making his sniper survive, he will be putting less energy into capturing the map from me, and he will also be more distracted, so he won't be doing as much. That's really the reason. So, in case you didn't notice, I did send a Volk squad, the one that was hiding in those bushes that I was talking to you about before, at the bottom of the map. I did send them to the fuel point that my opponent has, but sadly he had a rifle squad there that just happened to show up at that time. I think he sent them because the engineers he sent earlier died, so he sent a rifle squad instead. And they made my Volksgrenadiers have to run away, so I didn't get his fuel point, I didn't get that cut off. And my opponent's actually taking back the middle, sorta, kinda. Oh look, he has a mine detector squad. I was just like, aww, how many of my mines have you found so far? They've probably paid for themselves by now. The mine detector costs 35 munitions, and mine costs 25. So if you can disarm even 2 mines, that's the mine detector already paying for itself, because your opponent spent 50 munitions for 2 mines, but you spent only 35 to disarm them. And here I sent 3 squads. I sent 3 squads to go attack an engineer squad. Oh. No, it's not like that. I did send 3 squads because I knew that rifle squad was there, so it's just like, let's make sure that I killed his rifle squad and not have to retreat this time. So he has to retreat, and I actually chase him here. And it works out very, very well. That's a Vet 2 squad. Let's just remember that. That's a Vet 2 rifle squad that I am chasing. I'm chasing it to his fuel point, really. And that's a Vet 2 squad that's almost dead. Only 1 man left. There it goes. It's dead. He just lost a Vet 2 rifle squad. I was like, yes. I have killed a Vet 2 rifle squad. That's going to hurt you so bad because you can't just buy your Vet. You have to earn your Vet. I can just buy mine. So now I'm going to take his fuel point because it's just like, well, I might as well cut him off from the right side of the map because he actually has a couple of points over there. And I have 3 squads here, so I can defend the point if he decides to attack it to make sure I can't get it. So I might as well. I might as well go get his fuel point. If he does decide to attack, I realize the 2 of the 3 squads I had were not actually in firing range, so I had to move them up. I had to throw a grenade. He moves, I believe. Yeah. I tell my squad, go back and capture that point. I really want that point. So with 3 squads there, I'm pretty much going to get the point. I'm really confident about that. And then over here, I have 2 squads fighting 2 riflemen squads, but Vet 3 on, well, Wehrmacht Vet 3 is better than American BARs, so I easily won that battle. And now I have an Ostwind. I did decide to go tier 4, just because I knew at some point these snipers are going to get really, really annoying, so I need something to counter it. Well, that's actually not the reason I went tier 4, that's just something, a side effect of going tier 4 was I had a counter to his snipers. The reason I went tier 4 is, well, that happened way before snipers came into this game, this match. The reason I went tier 4, ooh, look, 2 snipers to kill, chase them with the bike, but the reason I went tier 4 is because I had it in my head and I forgot it. What was it? Oh yeah, because I had so much veterancy. I had vet 3 already on my infantry. I was just like, well, the next step would be to go tier 4, and I'm confident that that my opponent is not gonna put too much pressure on me to where I won't be able to go tier 4. And it turns out I was right. I managed to get an Ostwind and still hold a large portion of the map. I did lose a lot of the map because he had more of a fighting force than I did because I was busy teching to tier 4. But I still have about half the map, so I can use my tier 4 unit to get that part of the map back, the map I don't have. Yeah. Basically I can go tier 4. I lost the map getting to tier 4, but then once I am at tier 4, I have strong enough units where I can easily take that back, the map back. Wow. I hope I explained that well enough for you guys to understand. That was 2 grenades on his squads. Why did he not realize that? Why didn't he realize I had 2 grenades there? He didn't avoid them. Instead, he just sat there and took them. He's probably busy doing something else. Hey, look, the sniper's over here. Great. I have nothing to counter them. And only have 1 Panzerschreck to fight the M8 with. So I just say, yeah, retreat. I'm not going to win this battle. You can have your fuel point back. If you take it back, all you'll have is fuel and the munitions point at the very, very bottom of the map, this one. Which I'm actually going to capture right now, just to stall him, maybe, just a little. So I'm distracting him on the bottom of the map, as I am capturing the top of the map at the same time. So basically, he's getting pinned, and there's not much he can do about it, because he doesn't have enough of a fighting force to stop me from pinning him. I mean, he is pushing me back every once in a while, so it's not like he has an extremely weak force that can't do anything to me. But his force that he currently has is just not good enough. I did lose my bike to an AT gun. I forgot to mention that. I didn't intended to mention that, but I forgot to mention that earlier. As I was chasing those 2 snipers, remember that? With my bike, the bike ran into an AT gun and died. I was talking about something else when it happened, so I didn't mention it. This is a strategy worth talking about. At the bottom, I had... Ooh, Ostwind getaway. But at the bottom, I had a Volk squad capturing the munitions point. They actually captured it, wow. Under M8 fire. And now they get to retreat. And while that was happening, I was building this bunker and 2 mines along that bridge with green cover. That's not quite a bridge, it's like a land bridge, really. So he has 2 mines to run over before he can get to my bunker, and even then, when he gets to my bunker, it'll kill any MGs. But I'm hoping the mines will kill the M8 that he's going to send there, because he does have an M8 at the bottom of the map. So I have time to prepare lots of defenses. That's called stalling. I was stalling him with my Volk squad as I was preparing defenses a little behind the Volk squad, so my opponent would run into my defenses and lose. Or die, anyway. Oh look, a sniper! Bike, go get him. Just make sure you don't run into the AT gun this time. Oh, he's retreating. Okay, Bike, go somewhere else. I don't want the AT gun to sneak up on me and kill you. And I have to repair my Ostwind because of the sticky that landed on it. That sucked. I should have known. I even saw the sticky coming at me and I tried to back away, but I did it a little too late. And I was trying right there to select the bike, that didn't go so well, and ooh, the M8! It ran over one of my mines, so I decided to send the Panzerschreck squad over to the M8 in hopes to be able to kill the M8. Because its engine is destroyed, so it can kinda sorta move, but not really. It's like a Flintstones car. It's foot-powered now because the engine is dead, so it can kinda move, but not really. He is actually going to the top point over here. I decided to retreat my Volks up there, just like, no need to take unnecessary losses. Might as well retreat them. They're not going to win against a rifle squad that's full health. And hey, his AT gun's here. He's like, ooh, I have found your AT gun. Now I can make sure it doesn't kill my bike. These 2 squads need to move up and kill this M8. Kill it. I built something. I don't know what I just built, but I built something. Yay. Oh, Panzer IV, there we go. So I built a Panzer IV, and the reason I did that was because my Austrian was good enough anti-infantry. I just killed one of his snipers, yay! My Austrian's good enough anti-infantry, so I need some anti-tank to go along with the Panzer tricks I have. And I don't want pure anti-tank, so I decided not to get a Panther, and instead get the Panzer IV. Because the Panzer IV is still good against infantry and tanks, the Panther is only good against tanks, the Austrian's really only good against infantry. Although it will win against an M8, I believe. I'm not really sure. There was one 2v2 I played with some noobs, and I had an Austrian fighting a ton of M8s, or the other way around, maybe. I'm not really sure. Maybe it was an M8 against a ton of Austrians. Maybe it was the same number of both. I don't really know. But they fought it out. One of them won. I don't know. Anyways, my opponent gave up because I have pinned him in his base, essentially. I have his strategic point. I have a Panzer IV and an Austrian at his strategic point, so there's no way he's going to get that strategic point back. And on the right side, or the bottom of the map here, I have 2 infantry squads, an MG bunker, and I'm about to go get his fuel point to cut him off completely. So he knows it's over, he knows he's lost. I offered him Langries, he said no, because he has to go do other things. And hey, I just annihilated that squad with my Ostwind. That's how good they are against infantry. Just so awesome. And now I get Vet 2 on my tanks. I have so much fuel. I have Vet 3 on infantry, Vet 2 on tanks. Not as much as I had last game. Last game I think I had all Vet 3 except for vehicles or something. I don't remember. Regardless, it's still a lot of fuel. I tell him these were good games. Yes, they were a good set of 3 games. He actually had nothing left, so he had no way to counter my Panzer IV and Ostwind except for stickies, which weren't going to do very well. As you saw when I scrolled in there, that was a 105 howitzer. I didn't know he had that. I was just like, wow, I didn't know that was there. I need to make sure I mention that in the commentary. So that's why I scrolled in on it to make sure I mentioned it. And it worked. I remembered to. So I didn't know he built a 105 howitzer. That was probably not the smartest idea. Maybe he built it before I had any tier 4 units. I don't really know. But that was not a smart idea because he had no way to counter tanks. And logically, he should have realized tanks were coming next. He probably didn't realize it, but he should have, because I had Vet 3 on infantry. I had most of the map for most of the game. He should have realized I had tanks coming up, and instead focused on anti-tank, rather than focusing on a really expensive howitzer, which costs 400 manpower, 75 fuel, I believe? I'm not really sure. I don't really build them that often. I have to check every time I play with them. Oh well, that was the end of the game. I hope you all enjoyed. I won in the total number of points. It was actually a game that I won. It was completely one-sided. This had nothing to do with this game. It was a completely one-sided game. I was winning the whole game, but at the end, in the points screen, I had fewer points, which I was just like, what the heck? How on earth does he have more points than me, even though this was a completely one-sided game? I don't know. That was just funny. I hope you all have enjoyed this game. I guess I'll see you all next time, because that is it for this game. As you saw, I did Semois Pin him, and he gave up at that point because I had him fully pinned. He had no way to counter me. So, yeah, hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all next time. Bye!